Well, hello to all of you. I've known Ryan and Jaco for a long time, and literally in the last couple of months I've been trying to express to them what is happening here in America, what is happening on the ground, and I've been trying to say to them, listen guys, you really need to come over here. You know, Ryan's been in international property for a long time, lived in London for over 12 years. Jaco's been in investment property for a long time, done a lot of property deals between London and South Africa. But until I actually came here and experienced it, I knew that they wouldn't fully grasp what was happening on the ground. So what's it been like for you guys?
It's really been fantastic to see all the partners on the ground, seeing what they do, how they manage the properties, seeing all the different areas. That was fantastic, knowing that we can really trust the guys on the ground.
Cool. Yeah, I obviously known you for a few years, and to express this opportunity, and having invested in the UK for about 7 or 8 years, and overseas, you know, I've been looking elsewhere, to be honest, because demands or the supply of properties have been low in the UK and other areas. There's a lot of risk in investing overseas, particularly with what Jaco said, by working with the right people. And you know, apart from my personal investment needs, I've got a few friends that always saying to me over dinner, you know, where can we invest these days, because interest rates, as we know, are very low in our banks, and pension funds are very unreliable. So people are always looking to invest. People are always asking me, because I was very active in the property market publicly, but now I just kind of work with a few friends. And based on the information you gave me leading up to our trip, that's what convinced me to invest the money to come overseas. Because, you know, it's a small investment. So I was pleased with the research that you provided. It all stacked up, it made sense in terms of the numbers. The next stage for me was to actually come out, like you often talk about, meet the guys that are finding the properties, actually meet the guys that are managing the properties, the financial institutions that help us set up bank accounts, all that kind of stuff. Because if one of those areas is lacking or is poor, it's that old saying, you know, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and it's never more accurate than in overseas property. So I've been absolutely impressed with everyone I've met, even Jaco. And but even more so, the deals have stacked up, and I think that's a critical part. You know, the deals have got to stack up in terms of whether you're investing in income or capital, and it was good to see those sort of different areas around that. And I've been very impressed with the people that you've obviously spent a lot of money and time finding to fulfill the supply of the property, but also then the management on an ongoing basis.
Awesome, and I mean, you know, basically we've been here now for 8 or 9 days, I don't know exactly. We're in Atlanta airport, we're all on our way home. But I mean, what were your highlights? You know, what it was, we had a lot of investors with us, it was full on, I understand that, but what were some of the highs and lows basically?
Definitely, I think the highs for me was a few things. Through the different areas, I think it's had like a common line going through it. First of all, to see the trust that we're building with clients that go on this trip, and so that you can know that the trust, if you cannot come on this trip and you want us to buy a property for you, that trust will be 100%. So all the partners.
Just on that note, 70% of the clients are actually trusting us to be their ears and eyes on the ground. That because they're too busy or the businesses are going too well, and we actually come over and we their ears and eyes in terms of that trust you're talking about.
Absolutely, and to seeing everything that you said on your webinars and on all the other videos that you've made is actually the truth on the ground. For me, was a great eye opener to seeing that this is a first world country. If you invest your money here, your money is going to be safe. If you lose your dongle on the airport, it's still going to be there when you get back. So it's very important that you realize this is a first world country. Things work here, and we were really impressed with that.
On that note, because it's a big concern for all South Africans, how much comfort did you get that if my tenant doesn't pay me, I can do something about it in this country?
Absolutely, the management is very, very, very good. It's off top class, like you would expect in this country. If your tenant didn't pay, it's 21 days, the guy's out, end of story. There's no such thing as a squatter's right or anything like that. If he doesn't pay, he's out. The police come and fetch him and take him out of the house. And so your rights as a property owner is protected at all times, which is very important.
Oh, fantastic, Ryan. What were some of your highs in terms of the experience?
I think, gosh, we could probably do a 2-hour video on all the highs. But again, you know, you've got the saying where you invest in people first and then you invest in property. And I think that was true not just on the partners that we met, because, gosh, I mean, these guys know their stuff. You know, for about 3 or 4 years, I was teaching property to thousands of people across the UK, and not once did I have a question unanswered. So that was
just for those of you out there, that was with the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so a very credible organisation.
Yeah.
But
So there wasn't once that that someone couldn't answer a question for me, and that is important, because look, we had a great time. We had an amazing experience. I think all credit to you and the rest of the IPS team who actually put the thing together, because it was seamless and effortless, and we just kind of got shuttled through to the next area, and it feels like we've lived a whole lifetime in the last 10, 12 days. But to actually find, and I wouldn't have found this or known this when I started investing, but because I've been investing for 8 years, I know how important it is to get the right people, even down to the letting agents. I've been through dozens in my life investing in England, and you've got some of the best property investors that quite frankly I've ever met. So I was very impressed with that, and I enjoyed that, because I came here to get a return on my money. Yes, I've had a good time, but I was actually here to buy property. And one of the key things to me is integrity, and I think it goes on to what you said about trust. And I absolutely trust you, I absolutely trust IPS, which is why I'm also involved in the business. But as you know, it's taken me time to get to that. But I hadn't pulled the trigger yet, because I need to trust the people on the ground. And so I felt that everyone had utmost integrity. I'm actually, and I think the good litmus of this is, would I recommend this to my friends and family? And the answer is yes. That's probably happened once or twice in my lifetime, to be honest. I'm quite a risky investor, so I'm happy to put money in and maybe not invite my friends and family. But there's massive demand here for rental property. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can talk about around the economy and why people can't buy, and why it's such an advantageous time right now to invest. In fact, there's a short period of time I think that we will have that opportunity. So I'm keen, and I'm looking forward to the next one, to be honest. Yeah.
Just my interest, I always say to people, they say, well, what are we going to try and achieve on these buying trips? And I always say there's 4 things that we're trying to achieve. The first one is to get the right information. You come here, it's not second-hand or third party, you actually get it yourself, you get a feel for what's happening. The second one is meet the partners. You've discussed quite a lot about the partners. And Ryan, you mentioned on it, but just to touch on it, it's not just the management agents and the letting guys, it's the accountants, it's the lawyers, it's literally the entire team, in terms of every single person in the chain that you'll be dealing with. The third one is to take action. And I'm very proud to say that every single person that came on the buyer's trip has already reserved some properties.
Yep.
That's a 100% record. It was pretty similar on the last trip, which I think is testament to the first 2.
Yeah, it's exceptional.
That they're getting the right information and that they're chuffed with the partners. And then the last one is to have fun. There's no point in coming to a foreign country and not experiencing that country. So just a little bit to finish off there from both of you. Do you think we achieved those 4 objectives?
Absolutely. I think if you have to tick the boxes, and right, 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, they're always 10 out of 10 for me. The traveling, the partners, the properties, the repairs to the properties, the refurbishments, and as well as the fun part. That was a 10 out of 10. Maybe 11 out of 10.
What was the highlight of the fun part?
I think Miami.
Miami. I mean, Jaco hadn't seen New York, and just last night he was expressing, going up the Rockefeller Tower, going to Times Square, seeing some of the really iconic American, holiday things. Miami last night on the Strip was pretty awesome as well. Ryan, from your side, in terms of those 4 objectives, what are your thoughts basically?
Yeah, just to tie up what I was talking about earlier. So obviously we've spoken a lot about the partners on the ground, but what I think the highlight for me was the group. We had a fantastic group, and I think that it's not by fluke. That comes through marketing, that comes through talking to the right people, that comes through the sort of customer service that we provide, and every single person got on with everyone. And I think that made it far more powerful than just shopping on the internet. We all answered questions together, we all became curious together. I think we all created a great synergy. So from a business perspective, that was very exciting. From a fun perspective, in terms of all 4, I think we ticked at least that, and I'm sure there's many other boxes if you sat down that were ticked. Complete adventure, absolutely loved it. If I had known as a single guy that American women were so interested in South African accents, I probably would have moved here 34 years ago. But I just wanted to mention one thing. It's not that I've never looked at US property. I've been looking at this since I started investing. we can all go on the internet and find deals. You know, I can probably go find a deal right now for 20 grand. But the reality is, as you say, I completely agree with you, 20% of the deal is the purchase, and you have to get that right, but 80% is ongoing. And if you buy a property in a bad area, and even in a good area but get bad tenants, you're going to wipe out your profit really quickly. And that's why I've never invested in the US. Now I feel like, gosh, now I'm like, where can we get money from, you know? So that's where I'm left with at the minute, and absolute well worth my time and well worth my investments. And you know, we had lots of fun, especially with Jaco. So.
Well, listen, I think for those of you who would like to see testimonials, we're very honoured and privileged that every single person that came on this trip actually gave us a video testimonial. So click all over the screen here. There'll be links. You can go and see everyone in the flesh, explaining the highs and lows and everything that they experienced. And really from our side, it's been awesome. It's been wonderful having you guys here. I love sharing this opportunity. It gives me literally goose pimples every time I talk about it. I've been in international property a long time. I saw a fantastic opportunity in London from the back end of 2008 till about the middle of 2009, but it literally lasted 8 months.
Yeah.
And I'm determined not to miss this opportunity. I couldn't move quick enough in London, and I didn't execute on the opportunity. And with this American opportunity, I just want to make sure that for myself and for our clients, we don't let them miss out on this opportunity. And at the end of the day, they can also join the Zebra Milk Club. I look forward to seeing you on one of our trips, either in person or where we are your ears and eyes on the ground. Cheers.
Cheers.